Dolores Hart, born Dolores Hicks on October 20th, 1938 in Chicago, Illinois, grew up in a home where creativity and moral grounding existed side by side. Raised in a deeply Catholic environment, she was encouraged to explore both her imagination and her conscience from an early age. Her family valued discipline, kindness, and purpose, instilling in her the belief that talent carried responsibility. As a young woman, she attended Mundelein College, a liberal arts institution for women that emphasized intellectual curiosity and artistic development. There, Hart refined her academic abilities while nurturing a growing passion for performance and storytelling. Acting did not feel like an escape for her. It felt like a calling shaped by intention and meaning. Even in her youth, those close to her noticed a contemplative depth that set her apart. This combination of faith, education, and artistic sensitivity would later define both her meteoric rise in Hollywood and her extraordinary decision to walk away from it. A meteoric rise in Golden Age Hollywood. Hart's entrance into Hollywood was swift and striking. After signing with Paramount Pictures, she quickly earned a reputation for grace, intelligence, and emotional sincerity. Unlike many young actresses of the era, she brought a quiet seriousness to her work that resonated with critics and audiences alike. Her early films showcased a rare balance of elegance and approachability, allowing her to stand out in an industry often driven by spectacle. She soon found herself working alongside major stars, including Elvis Presley, with whom she shared a natural and believable on-screen rapport. Films such as Loving You and King Creole demonstrated her ability to convey warmth without artifice, strength without hardness. Viewers were drawn not only to her beauty, but to the sense that she was fully present in her roles. Hollywood seemed ready to offer her a long-celebrated career, and by all outward measures, success was firmly within her grasp. Capturing a generation in Where the Boys Are. In 1960, Hart reached a new level of cultural visibility with Where the Boys Are, a film that captured the restless optimism and uncertainty of young Americans on the edge of social change. Her performance blended sophistication with vulnerability, allowing audiences to see themselves reflected in her character's hopes and doubts. The film became a defining moment of the era, and Hart emerged as one of Hollywood's most promising young actresses. Critics praised her natural timing and emotional authenticity, noting her ability to communicate complex feelings with subtlety rather than exaggeration. Fame brought attention to her poise and beauty, but it also highlighted her restraint. She never appeared swept away by celebrity. Instead, she approached her work with professionalism and introspection. While the industry celebrated her as a rising star, Hart privately continued to question what fulfillment truly meant. Even as her career flourished, an inner dialogue was quietly unfolding, one that would soon reshape her life in unexpected ways. Exploring spiritual depth through sacred roles, Hart's growing spiritual awareness found expression in her role as Saint Clare of Assisi in the 1961 film Francis of Assisi. This project marked a significant shift from lighthearted romantic roles to deeply reflective storytelling. Portraying Saint Clare required emotional restraint, moral conviction, and an understanding of faith as lived experience rather than abstraction. Hart approached the role with reverence, immersing herself in the spiritual themes of the story. During production, she sketched a statue of St. Francis, an intimate creative act that revealed how personally the material affected her. This was not simply a performance, it was a period of profound contemplation. The film allowed her to explore ideas of devotion, sacrifice, and purpose, ideas that increasingly resonated with her own life. Colleagues noticed that she seemed changed by the experience, more inward, more reflective. In hindsight, this role served as a quiet turning point,
foreshadowing a decision that would astonish Hollywood and redefine her legacy. Final performances and a quiet farewell to acting. In the early 1960s, Hart continued to choose roles that emphasized emotional depth over glamour. Her performance in The Inspector demonstrated a mature understanding of moral complexity and human resilience, earning critical respect. Shortly afterward, she appeared on television in The Virginian, portraying a Catholic missionary whose courage and compassion echoed Hart's own evolving values. This role, marked by selflessness and spiritual conviction, became her final acting appearance. When it aired in April 1963, few viewers realized they were witnessing the conclusion of her Hollywood career. Unlike dramatic farewells often associated with celebrity, Hart's exit was quiet and deliberate. She completed her commitments with
professionalism and grace, then stepped away without fanfare. Behind the scenes, her life was already moving in a new direction. The applause faded, but something deeper had taken root. An inner certainty that fame, however rewarding, was not her final destination. Choosing the cloister over the spotlight. At the height of her success, Dolores Hart made a decision that defied expectation. In 1963, she entered the Abbey of Regina Lotus in Bethlehem, Connecticut, choosing a Benedictine life of prayer, work, and contemplation. The move shocked the public and fascinated the media, but for Hart, it felt like a natural response to a long-felt calling. She did not frame her choice as a rejection of Hollywood, but as an embrace of something deeper. Monastic life offered structure, silence, and a sense of purpose aligned with her faith. Over time, she took on leadership responsibilities within the Abbey, eventually being named prioress in 2001. In this role, she guided the community with humility, balancing tradition with creativity. The Abbey flourished as a place of worship and artistic expression, reflecting Hart's belief that beauty and spirituality could coexist. Her transformation was not an escape, but a fulfillment. A life remembered and shared with honesty. Though cloistered, Hart never fully disappeared from public life. She occasionally spoke about her journey through interviews, lectures, and her memoir, The Ear of the Heart. In these reflections, she offered thoughtful insight rather than spectacle, emphasizing discernment, gratitude, and faith. Her story reached new audiences through the documentary God is the Bigger Elvis, which presented her dual life with respect and nuance. The film's success demonstrated enduring public fascination, not with scandal, but with authenticity. Hart's willingness to speak openly, without exaggeration or regret, allowed people to see her life as a coherent whole, rather than a series of contradictions. She acknowledged the joy of acting and the peace of monastic life as equally real, each shaping her in different ways. By sharing her story on her own terms, Hart reclaimed her narrative, offering an example of integrity that transcended celebrity. Elvis Presley, friendship beyond the myth. In later years, Hart addressed long-standing curiosity about her relationship with Elvis Presley. Speaking with clarity and restraint, she described their bond as a deep friendship marked by mutual respect. While acknowledging an element of youthful attraction, she rejected simplistic narratives of Hollywood romance. Elvis, she said, was kind, thoughtful, and emotionally perceptive, qualities often overshadowed by his public image. He respected her faith and never pressured her to compromise her values. Their conversations revealed shared vulnerabilities beneath the weight of fame. When Hart chose monastic life, Elvis responded with understanding rather than resentment. She has consistently emphasized that her decision was not a rejection of him, but a response to her calling. By speaking honestly, Hart offered a more human portrait of Elvis, one defined by empathy and generosity. Her reflections do not diminish his legend. They enrich it by reminding us that behind the icon was a deeply feeling person. Truth, legacy, and a life fully lived now in her later years, Dolores Hart speaks not to sensationalize the past, but to honor it truthfully. Her life defies easy categorization, neither a cautionary tale nor a fairy story, but a testament to listening deeply to one's conscience. By sharing her experiences with clarity and grace, she invites others to reflect on their own definitions of success and fulfillment. Her legacy is not confined to film reels or religious titles, but lives in the courage to choose authenticity over expectation. Hart's story reminds us that meaning is not found in applause alone, nor in retreat from the world, but in alignment between belief and action. Whether on screen or in silence, she lived with intention. In doing so, she bridged two seemingly distant worlds and proved they need not be opposed. Her truth, spoken gently and without bitterness, remains her most enduring contribution,